Welcome to the Books and Martinis podcast.
I'm Priya.
And I'm Mercy.
And this is your go-to book podcast,
where we lift, empower, and spotlight authors.
Grab your martini and follow along.
And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to our podcast. I'm Priya.
And I'm Mercy. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Priya. And welcome, Brian.
Cheers,
Brian.
To you guys. Welcome to our
everybody.
Podcast. Salute.
Cheers.
And then tell us what you're drinking.
What are you drinking, Brian? What is that?
Was
it a big gulp?
Not a martini at all. It's called bourbon.
Ooh, you're going to be
and
fun
today. It's never
today.
too early for bourbon, ever.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. We are so excited to have you today. And, you know, we've been waiting for this interview for several months. Mercy met you. When did you guys meet? Like at the Tennessee Fair last year, right?
Oh, goodness. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it was
when was that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was the Knoxville Fair.
I can't remember where that was.
The first year for the Knoxville Fair. And it was, it was a blessing to be able to be there and to show off the work and talk to people and shake hands and high five everybody. And then you eloquently approached me and I was like, I'll do the podcast. So too good.
It was a great event.
I'm so glad we have you on screen and in everybody's ears. And today we're talking about your amazing book, She Talks to Fish. This book was so amazing, and we can't wait to hear more about your process creating it, your inspiration, what you did to craft the whole story, and your background, because you have an amazing background story as well, right?
A little bit of one.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
So why don't we kick it off? Why don't you tell our listeners and our viewers about you? Tell us about you.
Who is Brian?
Who is Brian Hester?
Who is Brian? Brian is a lunatic sports fan.
Okay.
I grew up in the mountains, the northwest portion of North Carolina. I grew up in a town called Boone, North Carolina.
Oh, I was just going to ask you. I was going to ask you because I saw everything in the story is in Boone.
Yes. So it was fitting that I end up using my hometown as the jumping off place as far as the story is concerned. I grew up a competitive swimmer, and oddly enough, there's a story behind that too. My mom, I grew up in the early 70s into the 80s, and I remember being right out about that 8, 9, 10 years old. And back in that time frame, kids just ran amok. We were raised by wolves. So
that's a good way of phrasing it. We were all
mom and dad would, so I went and I got swim lessons. And I remember my mom saying, once I feel comfortable enough about you being water safe, then, I'll start taking you to the water and you can just kind of do your thing. Well, I got really, really good at, swimming, and that swimming thing ended up kind of building upon itself. And even through my middle school and high school years, I became a damn good swimmer, competitive swimmer. And then that ended up kind of paving my way and paying my way into college.
Oh, so, you got a scholarship for swimming?
Yeah. So I swam in college and at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, came off the mountain to swim. But I ended up spending all my time going back home, the 2 hours back up from Charlotte to Boone to go not only to Appalachian State football games, but also to get a line wet. But going back to the reason why my mom would make sure that I was a decent swimmer is because she would, at the age of 10, I remember being dropped off at Winkler's Creek at like 8:30 in the morning. And
wait, by yourself? You were by
Yeah, by
yourself.
myself at like 10 o'clock in the morning.
What?
And I would have like this 5.5 hour, 6 hour, potentially 7 hour window
This
of
has to be
just
in the 80s,
walking.
right?
So that, what,
Probably
no, what did you
70s.
say?
70s or 80s? This happened in the 70s or the 80s?
Like the early 80s. It was
80s
insane.
are wild. It's like the Goonies
80s,
era.
80s.
You're literally a little
I mean,
Goonie
80s
sitting on the
were
creek.
absolutely fantastic. But I got dropped off, and I would just spend all my time walking up and down the creeks, the rivers, figuring stuff out, losing fly after fly after fly. And
for those listeners that don't know what you're talking about fly fishing.
yes, fly fishing. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was
Not the bug.
consumed by it at an early age. Fly fishing. Yes. Different from conventional tackle, spinning reels, bait casting reels, conventional tackle, all the stuff that you find at Walmart. So
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Love
And
it.
at what age did you decide that you liked writing?
Oh, you're gonna really do that to me. At what age did I decide I liked writing? That's another story. Mercy, you're just like opening a can right now.
Tell the
Worms.
story. We want to hear it.
Okay, so
I want to know how you got here.
This is
I know
all
the
true.
fishing.
This is all true. This is every bit of this is beyond true. I was okay, and I got my master's degree in the early 2000s. Okay, I remember one of my professors telling me one time when I turned in a paper when I was getting my master's degree in art education, master's in art education from Winthrop University. I don't mind telling these stories because nothing's going to come back and haunt me. I remember turning in a paper.
No social media.
And my professor said he walked to the door. He literally got out of his chair and he walked to the door. And he opens the door and he was like, "Mr. Hester, I need for you to learn how to read and write. And I don't know how you got into this program." And then
my God.
I just sat there in front of everybody, mesmerized at not only.
Wait, he said that in front of everyone? He said that in front of everyone?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. And that was my wake up call because I had beat the system. I had gone through middle school and high school and even college, doing the absolute bare minimum of everything except swimming.
Yeah.
You do the bare minimum in swimming, competitive swimming. You get your ass beat. You're not. Right. You lose your scholarship. No, so I did okay in that realm. So fast forward, I'm in a master's degree to try to better myself and elevate. And I have a professor that says, you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. And that was my literal wake up call in front of everybody. A professor does that nowadays, they're gone. Because everybody
they
gets
become
all
a
sensitive
TikTok
and
meme.
everybody, the sensitivities. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was sensitive.
That wasn't nice.
It wasn't nice.
It wasn't nice, yeah.
But being an educator, there's no thin skin. And I took it, I was raising 3 kids at the time. And I was it was my wake up call. So I embedded myself. And this is how I started learning the English language. It's crazy, but I poured myself into vocabulary, just simple vocabulary, not noun verb agreement. And, is this a prepositional clause? Or, it was understanding vocabulary, the definition of all these words and how you can tweak the word to find your own voice and manipulate the English language in your own sentence structure. How do I talk? Well, I talk in Southernese. I talk in a hillbilly mountain redneck twang, long Southern drawl that people go, they're like, "Can you hurry up and talk instead of taking 10 minutes? Just spit it out." I remember as I was writing the book, as I went through and started writing the story, my cousin, who is my co-author, I would write all these elaborate things. And Barbara Beam. And Barb, I was sitting across from her, and I had these thoughts of grandeur, and I thought this is going to be the most amazing story in the world. And she's like, I mean, I can sit here and tell you all day long, Brian. It's a good story. It could be better. And I was like, well, how can it? It's perfect the way that it is. No, it's not, Brian. And I was like, I was telling her the way that I was thinking, and she's like, things don't work this way. And she was an accomplished author before me. She lived in Nashville and wrote country songs. She's a playwright. She understands all of this. And she was the reason, I mean, a great leader surrounds himself by even better people. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm a leader, but I was like, who's going to do this? So Barb was the brains. Without question, Barb was it. She was the sounding board. She was who I leaned on, still do. And her integrity within the industry and understanding what's going on. And also she's outside of all of it, she's a incredibly well-read and a brilliant writer.
And I see, as you said, that she's the co-writer of the book.
Co-author, yes.
The co-author, correct. So what would you say, Brian, from the moment that you had that first thought of the story, like when you thought, okay, wait, there's a story here and I want to write the story down, I want to tell it. From that moment that you started writing and putting ink to paper to the date that it was finished and ready for it to go be published, about how long was that process for you?
It was 10 years, 10 and a half years. And I'll explain that in a very, very small format. 10 and a half years ago, I wrote the story. She was like, sure, I'll help you put it in a movie script, because my brain said, I have this story to tell. I want a bigger audience. I don't want to, and my pawpaw.
So wait, this was originally a script?
Yes, it's a movie script first, and that's where I was getting ready to go and to tell you the really, really cool stuff behind it. So it started out as a story. I gave the story to Barb, and we worked through some things, tweaked some things, fixed some things, and immediately the story morphed its way into a movie script. I knew she knew how to do scripting, to put it into a movie script, because she's just that brilliant. And she put it in the format that it needed to be, a movie script. I shopped it around unsolicited. It didn't go anywhere or do anything for like a couple of years. And then finally, I said, hey, Barb, let's go ahead and write the novel. And she said, no. And you're going to turn me down? What? You're my cousin. You can't do that. We're family.
Stuck with me. You gotta say yes.
She's like, I can do anything I want to do. I mean, you're not the boss of me, type of thing.
Right.
And finally, I let it kind of ruminate, for 2 weeks. Come back 2 weeks. Barb, let's write the novel. No. Month later, Barb, let's write this novel. Yeah. There's not a lot of quit in me. And finally, I just wore her down. There's no question. I wore her down, and she was like, oh.
And that was it.
Okay.
So you would say in total, it took 10 and a half years.
10 and a half years. The last 6 and a half, every day for 6.5 years, every day, 6.5 years, I worked tirelessly at understanding the English language, finding my narrative, finding my voice. And this was evolutionary. This was one of those weird stories within the story, where she told me at one point, she was like, Brian, you don't know how to read, because I'm not well read. I mean, I do have some favorite authors that helped kind of mold what I do. And she goes, you don't know how to read and you don't know how to write. Those were daggers. Those were like heart punches. It was like, take that.
Yeah.
Because, and it was just like the professor back in
Mm-hmm.
getting my master's degree. Those were like kicks in the teeth. But as an educator, duck feathers.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Rolls right off. But if you listen, and that's the biggest thing that I had to learn within that 10-year span of time. And my wife will tell you, I'm still not good at it, but it's shut up, just shut up and listen. Shut up and listen. And I had to do that with Barb because Barb is key. Barb actually, we both planted the seed, and the seed made a tree. And the tree, and Barb ended up putting limbs on the tree because she was able to find her muse and the muse, and basically I put all of the leaves on the tree and the ornaments. So this perfect storm started to brew within this 6.5-year period of time. And what was so cool about that was that we were like, okay, so how do we figure out this story, and where's the narration going to come from? Is it going to be omniscient? Is it going to be first person? We're going to end up doing third person, and we tried omniscient, and it failed miserably. And then finally, we were like, are we going to end up taking the voice of Maya?
Right.
And I was thinking to myself, I was like, I could see what was going on in the future. And I have a lot of feelings and right now about all of these agents that are out there. And I hope if you're an agent and you're watching this,
literary agent,
you, and I've been told, don't ever point at the TV screen. Don't ever point. You agent.
Well, I want to talk. Okay, so let's focus. You mentioned Maya. Let's focus on the book a little bit. So she talks to fish. I'm going to read the back cover, you guys. And she talks to fish. Maya Jones, a young Black woman from the mountains of North Carolina, discovers her obsession for fly fishing, which fuels a pilgrimage through uncharted territory riddled with obstacles that only the strongest of wills can endure. In this coming-of-age narrative, Maya's struggles are met with brazen resilience as she confronts stereotypes, bigotry, weather, and even death with immeasurable perseverance. In a world that is begging for a pioneer of change, Maya's personal voice becomes a beacon of how the human spirit always triumphs over the human condition. That's powerful. Now, I got to ask you the question, because it's very obvious. Why you? Why this story? Because obviously the protagonist is a Black woman and you're a white guy.
That's what I was getting at, yes. Yeah.
So I want you to talk a little bit about that.
So you saw me point fingers at agents. Yeah. I have a feeling of the reason why that we didn't get picked up after a total of 15 months of querying agents within our genre. And I think that when you're a white author and you have a Black narrative, people, don't judge a book by its cover. People actually kick that aside and they judge immediately. They're like, boom, white guy, Black narrative. Okay, so I was told multiple times by multiple people, they were like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about what the implications, what the consequences would be? And I thought about it. Barb and I thought about it. Barb was, right out of the gate, Barb was like, shut up and focus. We've got this to do. Let's get it done. And quit worrying about that stuff because we can't control that. I was sensitive to the matter. And I was like, I don't want to be, crucified right out of the gate but because of something that of which I was so passionate about. Well, there has been absolutely none, no backfire, no nothing, because what I felt as though that we did, and hopefully if you've read the novel and you're able to understand what's going on in the novel, that we ended up having over 20 20 beta readers from the ages of 12 all the way up to 90.
Yeah.
And I remember the beta readers just absolutely pummeling us. One in particular, she was like, let me explain something to you. No black girl's ever going to do that. Why would you write something like that? Why would you tell the world something that's not true like that? And I was like, well, can help me, figure out a way to massage this. And they would end up imparting knowledge about how to, these are the stepping stones as to understanding. And one in particular said, how do you know so much about a fish fry? And I was like, well, I attended a few fish fries growing up in Boone. My best friend growing up is a black guy. And I was in the black community in Boone often. And
you were welcome to the
cookout. I'm sorry?
You were invited to the cookout.
I was invited to the cookouts, yes. But during that time frame, this whole thing about melanin like growing up in Boone, I guess we were shielded from a lot of the stuff the bigger cities saw or felt. It just wasn't that way in Boone. I mean, it is what I don't want to turn this into some kind of situational chat about race and race relations, but the concept here is that if you think a certain way, it's still like, I always thought that Boone was void of any of this nastiness, or people thinking awful things about other people. And it exists no matter what you think.
Yeah.
It exists behind. It hides itself. It has so many different faces.
Yeah. It exists behind closed doors.
Yes, correct. But for me, I'm like, first of all, I'm going to get the elephant out of the room. And number two, I don't do awkward. So, and you're not better than me and I'm not better than you. Let's talk. And when we had these beta readers go through, it was amazing to find out how much we had gotten right, because Barbara, her best friends growing up were of much darker melanin. She had tons of black friends, tons of Hispanic friends, tons of Asian friends. I did as well. I never subscribed and went down this weird path of like color means everything culturally. It really truly does. But it in the grand scheme of things, it's like petals of a flower. Yeah. You can have purple flowers, red flowers, blue flowers, and they can all grow collectively together.
Well, I think it's kudos to you for not appropriating. You did your work in having the beta readers from different backgrounds give you feedback, and then using that feedback to change the story, to as you said, massage it so it correctly reflected the culture.
Correct.
Because what happens a lot is that our cultures are appropriated for profit, which is what you were scared of from the get-go, that people would think that. So it's important for readers and people listening to our podcast to know is that you did the work. Yeah. You didn't just sit there and think, I'm going to sit in my privilege and I'm going to write the story and, that's it. You did the work and you talked to folks and you did what you had to do with the story.
Listen to their voice.
Yes, you listened to their voices to create the story. And I know also Mercy mentioned that you had a very diverse class. And I believe one student inspired the story. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, there was a lot of inspiration that went around. Like the last 10 years while I was in the classroom being a visual arts teacher, I created an anglers club. And the Anglers Club was devoted to fly fishing, and it was to reach as many kids as I possibly could. Initially, I had only little white boys in my fly fishing club. And I grew up with the belief that this fly fishing thing was for everyone, because it is.
Right.
And I after the first 2 years of running the club, I was like, okay, so internally, I had to check myself internally, and I was like, well, okay, so how do I change this narrative and get more young women involved with the Anglers Club, this fly fishing club? So I sought out. As teachers, you can target certain characteristics in kids and their charisma and the way that they interact with you as the teacher. Well, I found multiple young women in my classes that were like go-getters. They were pretty intense. I mean, some were athletes, some were not. But I liked the way that I liked their confidence. So I said, come out, just give my club a chance. And they came out and they bought in. And it blew my mind how fantastical it was. And then those young women, there were no borders. The young Asian women, the young Hispanic women, and the young Black women got involved. And some of them just bought in based upon my own enthusiasm when I would talk about it in the classroom. And they would hear about it over the announcements, over the intercom. Well, the Angler Club is meeting in, V3, blah, blah, blah. And they would be like, what are you doing, Mr. Hester? And like, after school, I have a meeting with all my anglers. And anglers, what? And then that would extend the conversation. You bring all sorts of young women in. Finally, they started holding seats. Vice president, secretary, treasurer, social media. It was just, again, you heard me say earlier, a perfect storm. It was it was a swelling.
So did Maya come out of this experience with the students, or was Maya already in your mind?
Maya was already
Maya's
in
story.
my. Yes, I apologize for interrupting. Maya was already in my mind, but there was one young woman who I was just so intrigued by her. She didn't conform to anything. There was no, I have to listen to a certain type of music. I have to dress a certain type of way. I have to look a certain type of way. I have to talk a certain type of way, blah, 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 which is what, unfortunately, we as society.
Stereotype.
Yeah, it's a stereotype. I hate them. Absolutely hate them. So she didn't fit into any box. And that was the most beautiful thing watching that. And she joined the Anglers Club, and she just lit it on fire. It was just, I go back and I think about that one scenario where, and I've got pictures of her, holding the first rainbow trout she ever caught. And I'm not, you see, you open this can of worms, Mercy, this here, hear me pointing again, because I'm going to start getting sentimental now and start getting all emotional inside. But it was really cool to watch this stuff happen, because it was something that I had wanted for so long. And yes, it's a niche conversation. It's niche or niche or whatever. Fly fishing is something that everybody on the outside looks at and they go, oh, it's so beautiful and so calming, and it's so interesting to watch these people cast a fly rod, and the flies are so small, and it's so interesting. And my biggest thing is, quit talking about it, how interesting it is, and go do it. Excuses are like armpits. Everybody's got them and they all stink. Just go do it.
I have a question on the cover of your book.
Right.
So I've been looking at it and I absolutely love it. So unfortunately, if you're listening only and you can't see the cover of this beautiful book, I truly and strongly suggest that you check out the book. It's called She Talks to Fish. And on the top between Brian and Barbara's name is a necklace, right? Which is like a
Yes,
Trinity fish.
it's called an
necklace.
ichthys.
Okay, so tell me why that is there and why you chose to put the hook right here where it kind of looks like it's Maya's earring to me. Was that intentional or was that a coincidence?
Those were the proverbial Bob Ross happy accidents, how everything just kind of comes together. But the front of the book has a million things of just pure iconography that is superior. Yes,
Yes.
the hook lines up directly where Maya's ear would be. Is Maya black? Yes, Maya's black. Is Ed white? Yes, it is white. Are they silhouetted, opposing one another? Is the background a rainbow trout fish skin?
Scales,
why is it called a
I
rainbow
was just
trout?
thinking that,
Rainbow is not just necessarily isolated. When people talk about the rainbow is it has become a symbol for so many different entities.
Right.
The rainbow trout, and I chose rainbow specifically for the terminology, rainbow being diversity and the inclusivity of that diversity. So the ichthys at the top was essentially, this was not supposed to be some book embedded in like hardcore religion. It's about a spiritual space. And that spiritual space, I mean, yes, you can talk about like, aspects of Christianity or religion in general, but the ichthys was an iconic symbol of a fish where Maya could wear that around her neck and it could be with her at all times. Some people will actually, it's what you take away from it. I mean, do you take a religious or highly spiritual concept away from this novel? Absolutely. I'm hoping you will.
Right.
I mean, some people might lean more towards the religious aspect. I mean, it's for everybody. It doesn't have to bottleneck itself into one particular place. But that iconography that's there is literally all of those things woven into one on the front of the novel is to kind of pull everybody together.
Yeah,
Which
pull the
is
whole concept.
Right, which is what the reader can get out of it. But I want to know what Brian got out of it. What was the most, I don't want to say important thing, but the most maybe powerful thing or emotional, what was the strongest thing you feel you got the minute that you finished this and it was ready to go to be published? What was your biggest gain out of this book, other than the book itself, which is an accomplishment to complete a book? But aside from that, what did you walk away from?
Again, I'm a bit of a rabid dog. I'm very excitable. But you're asking, this is 2 times now, Mercy, you're asking questions that just really start pulling at the heartstrings because I was so invested and so emotional about this and so embedded in the book, in my eyes, was to change the landscape. Thus the reason why starting a movie script way back in the day.
To the book.
So that it could be seen on a big screen and embraced in a very, very large, a very, very much bigger audience. Okay.
Yes.
Change the landscape. And because, like I was talking about, my papa said, always dream big. Don't don't be tiny about it. Dream big. So I started big and stayed big. And and he always also used to say, he goes, you don't need to worry about a plan B. Just focus on plan A. A lot of people have A, B, C, D, and E. And that's great. I married a woman that has B, C, D, and E. So
so you focus on A.
I focus on A, and then I'm, pulled back from the precipice multiple times, always. The one thing I want every reader to be able to understand about this and to be able to walk away is that the novel is all about defying stereotypes. And then on the back end of that, It's about occupying the unexpected spaces.
I
And
love
when
that.
I say
I love
occupying the unexpected spaces, like it's like why can't there be more young Black women involved in rodeo riding in rodeos? Why there's not a lot of hockey rinks in Puerto Rico? Why is it? Is it because his young Hispanic women are not supposed to be able to ice skate or play hockey? I mean, we don't talk about those things. Do they exist? Yeah, they exist. But we need to. You got to go get inside that space. Why?
Right.
Why do you need to go get inside that space? It's because you freaking belong there. There's nothing saying that you shouldn't be there. This is what's getting me animated. I'm sorry. So
Well, that's the teacher in you too. That's the teacher in you too.
Well, I can't go do that. I can't. And there's a small portion inside embedded in the book that talks when Maya is picked up in the truck by Jake Cromwell, and he asks her a couple of questions, and she gets on her high horse, and she's like, "Yeah, you just got to read it. It's fantastic."
That's right. That's right. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
So,
it is truly amazing from the get-go, from when you read the preface, and I hope everybody reads the preface and the prologue. The prologue it's going to punch you in the mouth. And I like that.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And we are not going to spoil it for anybody. And finally, my last question is, what advice would you give an author? Either, a writer, an aspiring author. What advice from your experience would you give them, other than obviously persistence, which you had, and having a co-author, which was fabulous for you. It worked out to be a blessing. But what other advice would you give an aspiring author?
Well, you said it right there, persistence. And the book, one of the key ingredients of the book is about perseverance. Don't quit. Don't give up on whatever it is that you love, that you have a passion about. If it's an obsession, you stay the course and you follow that obsession, and or you persevere. You don't let anything get in the way. You follow your dreams, and along with that, I keep dancing back and forth. When Barb said, "You don't read and you don't write," and she kind of woke me up right there. And then when I poured myself into the writing of the book, and then almost a year to the day that we released it, I remember we were back and forth every day, sending, rewrites, constantly rewriting. And she started coming to me and she was like, "Did you write this or did I write this?" And I was like,
"Oh, you got her.
Guess what? And by the way, Barb, I wrote it. So you didn't cut it because I nicknamed her Barb the Butcher, because she would, like, I would be writing and she just would she would cut all the writing. And I was thinking, this is some really good stuff. There's some stuff in there. And she would just cut and cut, because she did what it was exactly needed. She did exactly what she had to do. But the cool thing about it is she couldn't tell what was hers and what was mine, because it had gone through this metamorphosis of like us being one with the writing, because I started figuring out, I'm like, she's going to cut that. She's going to cut it. So I would rework it to make sure that she wouldn't cut. And I would rework it to the point where I had my own voice embedded in it, and she couldn't tell whose was whose. So that was my on-the-job training for 6.5 years in terms of finding my narrative, my voice, and making this happen. So that's
right, which came from passion.
Yes,
from being
very much
passionate
so.
about your project.
Absolute.
I love that.
I don't have a lot of quit in me. The perseverance about writing for 6.5 years, and to make sure that you get something right, and to pour yourself into something so hardcore. it, I just,
Right.
I get emotional about it now after the fact. What like I wasn't that emotional about it when I was in the middle of it.
Mhm.
Well, I mean,
Right. You were going through the
I was
motion. You were
emotional
going through
about
the
it.
marathon. Right.
Yeah, but I was
Wow.
in the throes of it now. And to all the other authors out there, don't have a plan B. And surround yourself by people that are just so overwhelmingly gifted that, it's about, or how about this, that share the same work ethic that you have. Because if your work ethic, that's all I'm going to say. You
Mhm.
got to find people that share the same work ethic, because if you both can't figure out stuff, one person will have enough intestinal fortitude. They'll be like, screw it, I'll go figure this out. And once I figure it out, I'll bring it back to the table and share it with you, because
Mhm.
they're not selfish.
Yeah. Yep.
That, whoo, that
Support.
That's
one.
power. That's
Hmm.
power right there.
And Barb and
Absolutely.
I are a good team. I asked her about doing the
Barb the
sequel
Butcher.
because Barb
I
the
love
Butcher,
it.
because I
It's
asked
a
her, I was like,
hashtag.
let's do this. Let's go. I've already started building the infrastructure for the sequel. And she was like,
That was going to be my last question.
no,
This was my pre-last question. That was going to be my last question.
yeah.
Is there a sequel to it? Will this be a 2-book series, a trilogy? What are we thinking?
I think that I think that there's a trilogy in me right now. I
Okay.
have the infrastructure for number 2, and
Beautiful.
it's a matter of getting Barb on board, because I trust her implicitly. We're really, really good together. I mean, she's good for me because she'll like throat punch me and just and roundhouse
Oh
kick me in
man.
the head, and I'll wake up and she'll be like, "Are we good? Are we good?"
What
And
a character.
she's an incredibly um, gifted and very, very tough chick. And I'm so
Love it.
blessed to have her in my corner, and she's family too, so she can't
Hmm.
say
Yeah.
no.
She sounds pretty amazing.
And you
She
both
is.
are quite the characters. We haven't met her, but you both are quite the characters.
She's awesome.
Seriously.
Yes, I'm humbled. So
Well, this has been an amazing interview. You gave so many good tidbits, and I hope whoever's listening gets inspiration from this and takes
Absolutely.
it with them, because you went through a lot, and you were, fortunate to have partnership, support, input, and you didn't give
mhm.
up. And you
Mm.
didn't give up. And then you're also giving back by writing the story, because again, you're showing young girls from diverse backgrounds to show up, to be in spaces they weren't seen before, which is hugely important. And we need more of that. We need
Which
more of
you
that.
did in person through
Hmm.
your career, and
Yeah.
now you're doing it, as you were saying, to a bigger audience,
Yeah.
because this book can be picked up anywhere. And tell
Hmm.
us, where is the best place to find your
The
books
best
for the
place to call me. I'll send you a copy. If you're a bookstore, I can send you copies. It's on Amazon right now. And just real quick, I wanted to tell you, I got to tell you this little tidbit. Okay. In my anglers club, there was a young black woman. Her name's Maddie Grant. And if you don't take anything away from this podcast at all, I want you to listen carefully, especially if you can't see me and my animation with my hand movements and all that stuff. I feel like Ricky Bobby, in Talladega Nights. Um, remember the name Maddie Grant, period.
Okay. Okay.
Young black woman. Not only was she in my visual arts class and knocked it out of the park, she ended up getting accepted into UCLA for acting.
Wow.
She has
Wow.
just left to go to college to UCLA. And we were trying to figure out whether or not we were going to have AI read the book. And I am not a huge proponent of AI at
Hmm.
all.
Hmm.
Don't like AI. A lot of people do. They have their reasons, and that's perfectly fine. I didn't want to have AI read the book, because to do this right the first time, there was one way to do it, only one way, and that's to have a young Black woman, African-American female around anywhere between 18 to 25 years old to read the novel for its audio version.
For your audiobook.
So we searched around and I said, Barb, let's get Mads to audition.
Oh.
And Maddie, who was in my Anglers Club, auditioned just like she has for her entire life, for everything that she's done, and she got into UCLA. I'm just so blown away at that. But she just finished the audio version and slayed. One word. Slay. Slayed. Oh.
Well, we're clipping that. We're going to clip that for social.
You mean cut it or clip it or what?
It's going to go in the promo.
Oh,
I'm going to highlight it.
He was so fantastic. You want to talk about someone who actually picked up the dialect, because when you're up on the hill, when you're up on the mountain, there's a little bit of a different draw, a little bit of a hillbilly twang, if you will. Mm-hmm. And she did every single character in the book.
I love it.
All of it. And she's 18 years old, and
what a future she has.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, congratulations. You did it.
I'm completely, I'm here to tell you right now, like, I'm not a betting man, but all my chips are in with her, period. End of discussion. She's fantastic.
Wonderful.
Beyond fantastic.
Look at you changing lives. Look at you changing lives and creating opportunities.
Well, I surround myself by people who are able to tolerate me. Again, I'm a little bit of a rabid dog.
With your bourbon.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I'm taking another sip because you said that.
Yeah. Brian, well, thank you so much for being our guest today. For everyone listening and watching, please pick up a copy of She Talks to Fish on Amazon. You can reach out to Brian on social media, and we'll put all the information again, of course, in our summary for this episode below. Reach out to him. Yep. If you want a signed copy, he will sign a copy for you.
Oh, and also I can give you my personal painting website so you can see all the type of work that I do as well.
Sure.
Beautiful. We'll add it to the caption so that everybody can visit you there.
Did I send that to you? Did I send you my personal website?
It's hookedflyco.com.
Yeah, HOOKEDFLYCO.com. Look, where is it? Right there. Look at my pictures.
Beautiful. Look at that. I even have art.
Wait, you got more than I did. Wait.
Wait a minute. You got
it's all in
right
here.
There.
It's
Everything
all
is
in here.
there.
Look at you.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Okay, well, thank you so much, Brian. Let's do one more cheers to your success and your amazing book.
Thank you so very much.
Cheers.
Yes.
Thank you so
Cheers,
very much.
Guys. Till the next one.
Cheers.
Till the next one. Like, share, follow, subscribe.
Absolutely. Bye, everybody.